So today I'm joined by one of our star clients, Dom, who came originally into our Fit Pro Launch Systems program and has recently graduated in Pacific Scaling Systems. You're a very high level trainer, you've got a lot of experience, you're uh, very particular in terms of what you could do from what I can see and what everyone's told me about you as well. And I think you knew some of our other clients before you kind of joined the program. The big goal from today's podcast is to give people inspiration, insight in terms of what can be done. And was there a specific moment for you you realized that kind of doing in-person personal training wasn't something you maybe wanted to do like forever and ever, maybe and time onwards, if that makes sense, Don?
Yeah, I think all in-person coaches can relate. Once you've built up your books and you do it for a number of years, there's only so much you want to do, and I think you realize the amount of people you can help online is a lot greater than in person. And I think also you realize with in person, there's a lot of people that need their hand held, but once it goes past that stage, like realistically, people learn better just going in and doing it on their own with a coach online. And I sort of knew that. So I wanted to transition and scale my business a lot more. Hence why reaching out to you at Seven Figure and Fit Pro Launch. And it came to the start of this year. I was like, I've done in person. I know in person pretty well, but I don't know how to build a good online business with systems to then not just help me as a business, but like help my clients a lot more and give them a better service and give them more value.
How long have you been personal training for in person?
8 years now, just coming up to nine. So I still do it at the minute, but transitioning over. So a long time. It's too late.
So, and this is kind of ironic, and I don't know if you've heard me say this before. It's like what you do in personal training, in my opinion, is harder than online. Like I failed with an in-person personal trainer in 2008, like a long time ago, and hated it. And I couldn't get clients. I was working early in the morning and working late at night, massive gaps during the day, and it just kind of didn't fulfill me in terms of what I really wanted and probably stimulated me. And what I found is that sometimes a lot of the clients I had, I was just kind of babysitting, and it
Mm.
just kind of wasn't productive either for them or me. They didn't really need me there. They just kind of wanted to chat and almost like wanted a friend.
Yeah.
What was the pivotal moment for you where you were like, okay, I need to kind of maybe take the leap with the online thing? Because I know it's a lot, one of those things a lot of people kind of kick the can down the road a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of in-person people do it half in person and then online. So for me, I saw a lot of my friends join Seven Figure and then from where they were, which was the same stage as me, to 6 months to 12 months time was completely different. They were up here and I was still back here. And I just saw everyone sort of overtake me. And I thought, with some of them, I thought, I'm a better coach than you as well. So, in my opinion, not being too arrogant, but I was thinking, well, how are you doing this with your business and I'm not? And I felt left behind. And I think with the world we're going into now, I was sat in the gym. I was literally sat in the gym looking around thinking, I can't do this forever. I can't reach the amount of people and help the amount of people I want to, and then also build a good business alongside it. So it was actually when I was sat in the gym, just like looking around. No one was in the gym. It was only me. And I was looking at it thinking, what am I doing? So yeah, that's pretty much the moment that I realized. And it was seeing a lot of people get great success, obviously, in this program. So it was quite an obvious decision for me. I knew what I was going to go and do. So it was more so just about starting, committing, and then just action and everything.
Do you have you always kind of had that mentality of kind of being decisive? Because I think that's one of the reasons. Well, it's not. I think I know
Mm.
that's one of the reasons why you've done well. So if I use myself as example, I'm a very decisive person. It's like a yes or a no. It's like I'm either doing the thing or I'm not doing the thing. If I do the thing, I'm jumping in with both feet, and then like you kind of land and figure it out as you go. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like I go all in on everything. So I just think if you're going to do it, do it. And you're either going to fall. I always say if you set a goal up here, you're going to fall back a little bit. You're probably going to come a lot further than what you originally planned if you set a small goal. So I think you've probably seen some of our conversations. Like in here, I set some stupidly high goals
Yeah.
that you probably think, whoa, like slow down. But I'm serious. I actually want to get there. So I just fully went all in, fully committed. Got a long way to go, but I'm happy with what I've done so far this year. And the good thing is I can see a long-term vision of scaling, which is really good. Whereas in person, you don't. You see a bit of a cap to it. So it's been good so far for sure.
The most powerful word I would use with online and particularly technology we have now and AI versus kind of like the in-person PT is leverage, because you have the ability to leverage your time so effectively that your ability to A, help people is can be like 1,000x, and then your B, your ability to then actually spend time like with your friends, family, and partners, and actually have the life you want kind of increases. You're not spending your entire life in the same four walls. It becomes kind of a prison. I can kind of relate to that. And then C is like there's no like actual cap in terms of income, like within reason. Because if you're a PT, there's only a certain amount you can charge per hour, and there's only so many sessions you can kind of do in a day.
Yeah, especially like if you're looking at like postcode as well and where you are, there's only so much you can do with it. And it comes to the point where you can be an in-person coach, which I like doing. I've gained a lot of experience, and that's where I can take all my knowledge now online. And I was a little bit slow this year to think, right, I've learned everything I have in person. Like, how can I get across all my knowledge online? So it's also about learning that and getting it across. But like what you mentioned there, a lot of these people either want friends or they want their handheld going into the gym, where realistically that's the worst thing you can do, because then they're never going to learn to do it on their own. And that's where people start and stop, start and stop. So what I found with online is really good in the sense they actually learn good habits and routines to then go and carry on their own, even if they like leave the program with me. So it's built really good systems for them as well.
What's what would you say was your biggest fear about going online initially? Because a lot of people are obviously very apprehensive, which is why they kind of like put one Instagram post up and they don't get 50 million clients. Like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. Like I've learned a lot over this year, but it's because I've just gone on. And to answer the question, my biggest concern, I didn't have one. I'm not a type of person that gets concerned about anything. I was money at first. I was thinking, right, but then I also thought everyone's getting results. So if I don't get a result, that's my problem, and that's something that I will then learn and take into some another area. But I just thought, in terms of like content, say if we're not getting loads of views, you don't actually need to. That's what I learned when I first joined the program. I was thinking, oh, I need to get loads of views, loads of clients. I need to have 10,000 followers or more to get loads of clients to get respected. You've probably seen my profile. I've got 2,000 followers, but the amount of people I help and get that come onto the program is brilliant. And that's just because of the systems that I put in place. So biggest fear, I didn't really have one. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really have one because I knew I was going to go all in and just go for it. And I thought I've got a really strong starting point from coming from in person. If you are an in person coach, I actually feel like you've got an unfair advantage. You've just got to learn systems and how to go from in person to building an online business.
So I think, correct me if you think I'm wrong with this, but I think my opinion is if you've got a lot of experience with in-person PT is one, you know people's pain points really well. Two, you've got a lot of stories you can probably tell about like Karen who did X, Y, Z. And then like C, you actually know how to solve a lot of people's problems before they even kind of come up. Because if you've done 8 years of personal training, you're doing 30 sessions a week. Like, I don't even if you even work. How many sessions a week do you do on average? What are you doing?
I've done up until this year, I was doing 40 hours per week.
Okay, so you're doing 40 hours a week. So let's say you work 50 weeks a year. That's 2,000 hours. So that's, yeah, dude, that's 16,000 hours of personal training potentially.
Yeah, it was an awful lot. I worked it out to be something like this is a while ago now, like 12,000 hours. So
Yeah.
it's enough. It's
Uh, uh,
enough to learn.
yeah, and that's where they can, you get mastery when you do 10,000 hours of anything. It's like the 10,000 hour rule. So like you have mastery of fitness and training people and getting people in shape. It's now you just need the other skills, which is like systems, operations, marketing, sales, like how to plug it together. And if you have a driven mindset and you're kind of not afraid to kind of like fuck around and find out and try things, like you put the two together and you absolutely dominate.
Yeah, and it's the same with coaching. I preach it all the time to clients. Like, if something doesn't work, that's brilliant because you can learn why. And it's the same with online coaching. It's the exact same thing. So any coach can relate to this. When something doesn't work, that's brilliant because you can work out why it didn't work and then find a solution to it rather than just stopping. The worst part is when you just stop. That's what I found. But I do find the hard part is the in person. It's so much easier since I've come online to coach people. And even when people come with the problem, you've dealt with that for 8 years or 5 years, how long you've been an in-person coach. So you can help them most likely a lot better than someone I find who's just started online and hasn't done any hours in person. I found that worked pretty well.
With you obviously having the success online, what's been the best thing you've liked about that so much so far?
Scalability, financial for sure, but helping people, you can help so many more people. You can build. I was always looking at building a business. I personally thought it wouldn't be in coaching at one point. So I started a supplement business 2 years ago, didn't work. And I didn't ever think I would long term go into coaching. This has opened my eyes up into starting an online coaching business where I can have a good scalable business. Um, that's a big thing, like financial. Every month, you can do better. And I always like to improve every month. So I'll be looking at chasing numbers, but then also results. Because if you get good results, most likely your business will grow. So it's good for the client, but it's also good for you as a business. So you're always just chasing, chasing, and chasing. And that's really motivating. Whereas if you're on the gym floor and you've worked with the same people for 8 years, it's not as motivating in the end. You've just got good relationships rather than a financial revenue where you're trying to drive it up or even like a results. Now with online, I'm always working with new people, which means I'm always getting new results, which is really good.
So there's two things I'd add into that from my own coaching experience, having coached thousands of people in fitness. One is that I actually really enjoyed coaching people from all over the world from different places. I found kind of cool,
Yeah.
like different, like weird cultural quirks. And the second thing was that like there will be certain clients you'd be excited for them to check in because like you want to see how much progress they're going to make because they're not going to crush. Whereas like when you do it in person, you see the person 4 times a week, and a lot of them don't really they go to the gym to go to the gym rather than to like get like an insane transformation. So you don't tend to kind of get so much fulfillment, in my opinion, from that. If that kind of resonates.
Yeah, I've always been the coach that's been results driven from
Mm.
transformations. That's why I like to go into transformation because I was just obsessed with seeing those pictures. Like it just gave me some sort. I was buzzing from it. As soon as you had, so I've got a check in with someone tomorrow, and I know her pictures are going to be really good. So I'm looking forward to that check in. Whereas I never had that with in person. Not much. Once you transform them, it was sort of they were quite complacent. Whereas when people come into you online, they're coming to you to get a result most of the time, which is very, very satisfying. And it just drives you that little bit more to get them a result as well.
Well, that's why I think the difference between in person and online, in my opinion, is people go for in person personal training to be entertained and to have fun. People go for online coaching to get an actual result. Like it's a very
Yeah,
distinct difference, in my opinion.
no, 100%. I've learned that probably this year the most. I remember when online first came out, and it was a big thing since like COVID. I was like, oh, it's not the same as in person. I was sort of against the grain a little bit there, and I was a little bit slow to it. And it's funny now looking back, but an online business, I prefer it more. I get better results online than I have in person, and everything that I was always sort of like fighting against has taken a complete U-turn, and it's completely different now, which I do look back and laugh at.
Everything is funny in perspective and hindsight. Why do you think
Mm.
some trainers are against in-person coach? Sorry, online coaches. And I'll give an example. I've had an online coach coaching me, and I still do for the last 7 years. So like, I buy online coaching as an online coach.
Yeah, why are they against it? Because I think a lot of people sometimes when they first start think they need an in person. I don't think they actually know what they need because they're going to a coach for advice. So they feel like they need to learn these exercises, but a lot of stuff that you can do online now, you can coach people really well through digital products, apps. Like my app has video demonstrations. We've got a content library. We've got everything to help that person as much as we can. We do form checks. We pretty much do everything just via technology. It's no different from me being there. Now, yeah, I'm not demonstrating in person, but we're demonstrating via an app. It's very, very similar. So, like I said, like I prefer online a awful lot more now to in person. Even just from like a value perspective, they get so much more. And rather than like saying rest times, you probably relate to this in person. You're just chatting about their dog or family member, which is great to start with. It's really nice, and I've built up some great relationships. But there comes a time where you're not, whereas you go on a check-in call, you're talking about what went well, what didn't, strategy, where we go forward. So they get so much more from it rather than talking about what they're doing on the weekend, which you can do a little bit on a check-in call, but normally it's strategy.
I agree with that 1000%. I think you end up with a lot of waffle, and then the sessions kind of drift on, and like people don't end up training as hard as they kind of should. And I personally think that's probably one of the big downfalls of it. I actually think, from a consumer standpoint as a client, this is what most people don't realize, in particular for the high end coaching market. People who are wealthy and have a lot of money tend to be very busy. And they don't tend to have a normal 9 to 5 where they're like, okay, I can see you, Dom, every Monday, every day at 8 a.m. because they're here, there, and everywhere, and they travel a lot. So, what actually suits the people who can pay the most is to do it remotely and have flexibility. So, like, I've worked with like billionaires in Iceland when they've like come on a Zoom call and they've got like the finance minister and stuff there with them, and like loads of weird stuff like that. And it's for me, like I really enjoyed coaching from that perspective because I met some amazing people as clients who had like a privilege to help. And I think that's also when you're very passionate about coaching and helping people, that comes across, and then people kind of get pulled into your world for that. And then it's your ability to also get referrals with the online side and stuff is so much higher as well.
I noticed that last month we had, I think, like 10 referrals come through, which is the biggest month for referral. Thinking I've just started low level, for me, that was pretty big. And that I did nothing from that apart from coach them, get a good result. And then they went and spoke to their friend, and it just went from there. And then we put a system in place where we've done referral program in person versus online. So much different. I didn't have loads of referrals in person. Online, like 10x. It surprised me last month what happened. I didn't actually have to put any work in to get all those new clients or any like spend to get them. All I had to do was coach the person well, get them a result, and just be a good coach. And then it just literally trickles from there.
Quick interjection. 90% of fitness coaches never actually scale their business and get the time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom they want. Not because they're not good coaches, but because they're missing the systematic approach to scaling their business. And I've been there. I was trapped in a job working 60 hours a week, making £3,000 a month, trading time for money, like everyone else. Now today, our 7-figure scaling system program has helped over 500 coaches scale their business systematically. Hit the first 5K a month, 10K a month, 50K a month, 100, 200, 300K a month. The difference, we actually help you by plugging in and playing the exact systems we use in our own fitness business to help you get the exact same results. So if you want to get out of being in that feast and famine cycle with your business and with your mindset, we're offering free strategy calls. We'll actually audit your entire business. If you want us to walk through exactly what the bottlenecks are, where you're stuck, and how you can fix them, hit the link below the podcast. You can book in the call and we'll help you take your business to the next level if we think you're a good fit. Either way, we'll just give you a ton of value. Now back to the podcast.
What would you say has been the biggest misconception that's been broken since kind of working with us? You were kind of surprised about.
Say that again, sorry.
What do you think is the biggest like myth you think's been broken since you started working with us, or misbelief?
Um, I I'm not sure really. I guess it's a hard one. Like when I first came on board, I was without answering your question, which isn't helpful, I know, I was pretty confident with how everything was going to go because I had friends, and I saw a lot of coaches who I personally know and respect in the industry, and saw what they've done. So I was pretty confident I was in the right place. I didn't think it would be probably as good in terms of like a coaching program as what it is from like a contact perspective. Now I actually was in, when I first started coaching, I went into a group to help me scale an online info product, a little bit different, where we were just selling products at a very high ticket. And I felt like I lost an awful lot of money in that, a lot more than I spent here. It was ridiculous looking back at it. I was very young and was silly. And that course made me worry a lot more about ever investing again. And I didn't invest for years. And that's why when I started this, even though I was confident, I probably asked a lot of questions. I was probably a little more awkward. And it's just changed the way I've invested twice now in the space of 4 months. It's just completely opened up how I think about things. I'll never not invest again in anything. You just need to do your research first. And that's what I learned a lot. So in terms of like an investment standpoint, I'm very confident now to invest in myself as long as I know what I'm investing in. Whereas when I was younger and when I invested in other things, I lost a lot of money doing so in products that weren't very good.
There's a saying I really like, and I think I actually heard Alex Moses say this. It's basically like he's never invested in anything that hasn't worked because it's like it's down to the person like doing the work and kind of making it work. And that's where I think the way I kind of really look at things, I've invested $400,000 plus and continue to. Like, I'm going to Vegas next month for one day from Dubai. Is a long way. It's like a 40-hour round trip to go to see Hormozy and his team to kind of look at what we're doing. And like, you don't know what you don't know. And I think the biggest thing that holds people back is, one, I would say, is arrogance, and two is fear. Because if you're a smart, driven guy like you, if you bet on the right horse, like, you win. So as long as like, okay, has the person done the thing I want to do? Yes. Have other people got success? Yes. Then I can do it too. Like, whereas I think it's
100%.
where people, and I see this, and this dude, like, literally, it's like gun to my head. You see, I get passionate about this. I see people who are like, getting fucking rented Lamborghinis in Miami or Dubai or whatever, and they've clearly like there's no client results, but they're selling all this shit. I'm like, I probably wouldn't buy from them. Like, do you know what I mean?
100%. But when you're younger, you get sucked into that trap, and you just do. And I did in some capacity. Whereas it's very simple, like what you just said there. Like, find someone who's done the thing you want to do, and then find someone who's coached a load of people do the thing that you want to go and do. And I was thinking about it the other day actually, and I was thinking, right, look for that, and you can't really fail. And if you do, it's sort of on you, in my opinion, where you don't apply yourself, because you can do these things and you might not get a result. That's all on you. If you can't hold our hand like you can in person, it's all online, right? So you can help someone as much as they're willing to put in. And if they're not willing to put in the work or apply themselves, it's quite difficult sometimes. But yeah, that's what I believe in quite strongly. And I say that to a lot of my clients. There are one or two people that haven't got results this year who I've worked with, and that's just because they haven't done the thing that we told them to do. But they're very aware of that as well, which is also a good thing for us.
And that's also when you have like decent mature clients. And I actually think if you, and this is what you find, if you charge higher ticket prices and you work with better people, they'll be like, yeah, you know what, Dom, like I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I got distracted, X, Y, Z. It's on me. Whereas if you get like Taryn who works in co-op or whatever, you'd be like, this is a
Yeah.
scam. This is books like, dude, you didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
and like what we were just saying there is actually one of the best pieces of advice that I give for anyone. It is two things, and I think about this a lot. Is like one, and this is kind of how you want to build your brand. Is like proof over promises. So like just show constant proof of like you doing the thing, and then be like you've helped other people do it, and then also like say only what you can say. So like for you, for example, you've got 8 years of in-person personal training experience with over 12,000 hours working one-to-one with people. I don't know if you put that in content, but that's like a good authority piece you could do. Like that's kind of like a credibility which like someone who's 18 years old straight out of college hasn't got the same authority in that respect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And this, to be honest, it's something I haven't leveraged loads, but it's something I need to do a lot more of. So that's just something where, from like still a growing perspective and learning perspective, there's so much more I can do. And that's why I'm quite excited for like the future. I know there's so much more I haven't done yet and where I can take things. So it's definitely exciting learning moving forward. In regards to online, the big thing that I like personally is versus in person, where you get people not show up, they lose a session, or you, depending on how you run your business, might lose that income if you run your business that way, depends. If it's online and they miss a session, it's fine because they can fit it in for the rest of the week. So online in every area beats in person, in my opinion, nowadays, if you actually are smart enough to realize that and you've got the comparison. But whereas when you are in person and you don't do any online, you don't know until you try. And that's the big thing I've learned this year, just giving it a go, just going all in. And it's changed my complete outlook on coaching, online versus in person, and just running a business, to be honest with you. And you learn a lot more about yourself doing that than just doing the same thing on the gym floor for hours and hours and hours. But you don't know until you just take the leap. And that's the problem I've noticed. It's the same with taking on new clients versus probably how you take on new clients in this capacity working with coaches. Some people go for it, some people don't.
Uh, yeah, and that's the game of managing expectations and individual personalities. And I think and this is my best advice. I don't know if you would agree with this, Dom. In my opinion, and I'd say I've got a valid opinion. We've worked with I've sold 17,000 fitness customers. So like I know how to sell fitness programs, and we've helped a lot of people scale fitness businesses. That building fitness business is really simple, yet it's still hard. Like it's fucking hard work. So I'm not going to tell anyone it's not, but it's simple. Like we're not like putting a rocket in fucking space like Elon Musk. Like this is kind of simple. Like we make content, you get traffic, you help people lose weight, and then like eat less, move more. Like cool, rinse and repeat, get referrals. In like kind of essence, I think it's just having the mentality to understand that it's still hard work.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I've noticed recently since even coming up to seven figure. It's simple. It is simple stuff. You've just got to apply it. And there's a lot at first. You've got to do a lot. That's what I've noticed from coming from in person. You do have to get the reviews, the testimonials, which in the past I've been lazy and I haven't done that because I didn't need to because I had an in-person business and I was quite small minded. But now I have noticed a very, very big difference there. So I completely agree with what you're saying.
With something which is a really kind of messed up and sick paradigm about this whole thing of entrepreneurship generally, though, is that at the beginning it's also the hardest when you have the least amount of resources, the least amount of skill, and the least amount of confidence. Whereas, like, when you get your business to a certain point, it actually gets much easier because a lot of the things you're probably doing right now, you're doing it once. It's like one and done. Like you build I don't know, DM tracking system for tagging. Like once it works, it works. You don't have to do it again. So like a lot of
Yeah.
these things are kind of like a one and done scenario.
That's what I've noticed this month. And it's funny, I've noticed a lot over the past 2 months, but I've been in this program, for 4 or 5 months now? I think it is roughly. Um, Everything is just compounding and it's becoming a lot easier. And I'm just adding more systems just to basically reach that higher revenue cap and add and add and add. Whereas when I first started, I was like, God, this is a lot. But once it's done, it is like what you just said, it's done. And then you can just build and build and build. Don't get me wrong, you can always implement and tweak and improve things, but a lot of the groundwork's done. You've just got to lay the foundation. That's the big thing I've noticed since starting.
You originally came into our beginner program, Fit Pro Launch Systems. How did you find that?
Really good, really good. I think it's where I needed to start, to be honest with you, because even though I probably had a bit of an ego when I first started, I won't lie, I thought I'm starting program. I felt like in terms of being on the program, it was just what I needed because even though I've coached in person for years, I didn't have an online business, so I needed to start there and build up. The support that Jade, my coach, gave me, and all the people, Ataza, in that group was just phenomenal. I was surprised how, firstly, just passionate they are about helping people. I know they're coaches and I'm a coach and I'm passionate, but like they're so passionate, both of them. And then also on coaching calls, it's just so interactive. You've got to ask questions, you've got to write notes, you've got to do all these things. The coaching calls were brilliant because they were so interactive. But then also just from a standpoint, I've messaged Jade in the morning. She would reply 5 minutes later. And like for online, when it's such a fast paced moving business and you want answers like that, it's perfect. And I was really surprised. I don't know how she replies that quick, but she does. She's definitely all in. But from a support standpoint, it's been really, really good.
So one of the reasons we kind of segregate it into that is so that people don't get overwhelmed, because otherwise it's like it's a bit like I'm trying to think of a fitness analogy comparisons. Like someone's never trained before and then they're thrown in the gym with Milos Sarchis to do giant sets. Like what the fuck is this? Like, and so which is why it kind of works better that people work in like the initial kind of pool of people trying to get say to the first 5K a month and then come upwards. Because otherwise, one thing I see a lot is that people will feel inadequate maybe if they're seeing like, oh, all these people are doing like 20, 50, 100K a month or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
almost too far away at that point.
I completely agree. And I think when I first started, I didn't see that, but I should have coming from a coaching perspective because I literally do that with my own clients. And it is a good step up. Even now, if I was to just go straight up into the higher group, from where I started personally, I would have been overwhelmed. It was funny when I have joined, when I came up to 7 figure from Fit Pro Launch, I was like, I've got to do all these tasks now again. And I got quite complacent in the end. And it's good reinvesting that money again. And then also on top of that, just having new fresh tasks to scale your business up. So it is perfect from start here and just build and build and build and build until you get to where you want to. So you've laid it out really well.
And that's where like there's kind of levels. My goal is to take people from like 0 to like 100K a month plus. So like we can take anyone through that whole process. And again, that's why we created another group above 7 figure, the CEO group, because again, if I have people doing like, we've got someone doing 800K a month in there, it's like people are going to be like, this is like the conversations is too different, if that makes sense.
It's quite funny now. I thought about this probably a month ago now, maybe a month and a half. I said, right, I've started from nothing in this group. I want to see how far I can take it in this group since starting. That's why I'm in not a rush as such, but I want to scale pretty fast and I just want to see what number I can start with, just say 0 to whatever number I can get to. I think I've always set my goal from day one since I started, which was hitting 100K a month. So hopefully we'll do one of these back.
Yeah, bro, we'll do it in person, we'll do it in Dubai, and we'll get like everyone who does 100K a month, we give a plaque too. So
Yeah.
like, I'm going to shout this out on like virtually that we're going to do that for you as well. But that's also like one of the reasons you've been successful is you set big goals, because when you set big goals, you take big action. And here's a really good book for anyone to read. It's called 10x is easier than 2x. The theory behind it is essentially if you're going to 10x your results, you have to completely change your process in terms of how you're going to get there, which is often a lot of the time what we need to do is completely, like if you want to go from like here to there and you want to go like a whole lot further, you have to change the system. And also I say a big thing is actually the identity of who you are within the business to get to that kind of point.
Yeah, 100%. Something that we spoke about with my coach last month, and it was, I've got to this stage now. I need to change the way I coach people, my systems, to get to that next stage. And when I first started, I was just being a busy idiot, doing way too much that I didn't need to do. I didn't have systems in place. Now we're looking to put those in place and already have. And I've brought back so much time, which then brings more people in. And then I can help more people and I can grow it. So I completely resonate with that one.
From your own personal experience, what do you think is the biggest mistake coaches make when they're trying to get, say, to their first 5K a month?
Charging too little, looking back at it now, not valuing their service, their knowledge. Like I just said, being a busy idiot, I've been there, I've done it. You can charge more and you should have the confidence to do so, because people will pay if they value what your service is and you as a person. I think a lot of people don't believe in themselves enough to charge more. They don't think they're deserving of it. And don't get me wrong, this is day one coach. It might not be that you charge a silly amount of money, but you should be charging enough. So then you're not, like what you alluded to at the start of this call, you're not working with, say, Karen from the co-op who's, pestering you all the time because she's not getting results and she's not, invested in herself. So that's the biggest thing I've learned, and it's something that I still need to learn. Put your prices up. You get better clients, you get better results. I learned a lot from doing that.
And also, this is the way the world is going to go. You've got AI and HIs. AI is obviously artificial intelligence. HI is human interaction. People who want to pay a little will go to ChatGPT or YouTube and get something for free. Whereas like the premium people want to go to like actually pay more for someone who actually kind of knows what they're doing. And if something's cheap, it's actually going to kind of put them off. If you were to flash back, Dom, to when you were kind of stuck in the gym, what would your advice be to that version of you doing like 30, 40 sessions a week, or anyone who's kind of relevant to that?
Say this all the time to people now, friends who still do it, and myself. I've always thought about this one. Just invest in something like this, which sounds really salesy now. It's not, just because you will get a result. Invest in yourself. I think I've said this twice in this call now, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in the same position. You will be left behind by people who join programs like this and just fully go for it. You can't really go wrong unless you don't apply yourself. But most likely, if you're putting in all the hours in person, there's no reason why you can't achieve and build a great business online. So the biggest thing I would say to anyone, it's something I didn't do for years and I should have, and I wish I'd done it sooner, was just invest in yourself and actually get someone not just to help you physically as a coach, but help your business as well. It's just having someone to speak to and bounce ideas off of changes everything. And I remember I said this to myself when I got off the first phone call with Jade. I remember buying into the course, I was a little bit, how's this going to go? Because I haven't invested for years and having a bad experience. First phone call, I got off the call and I said it's worth every penny. That's literally the first thing I said to myself when I got off that phone call. And it just changed how I looked at programs.
And I'll give you a good example in terms of like investing in yourself and also opportunity cost. And this is kind of how autistic and weird I am. I do like paddle lessons once a week, and I have this cool paddle dude who we did lessons with. He's like, so my God, he said he had lessons in the morning and he had lessons in the evening. He had a big gap. So it reminded me instantly of PT. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, what do you do in the middle of the day? He's like, oh, nothing really. I was like, what do you want to do next few years? He's like, oh, I'd like to make some money. I'd like to start my own paddle thing. Like, X, Y, Z. Like, this is exactly what you should do. You should start making content on paddle, put it on social media, and start selling paddle coaching programs. You'd fucking crush, because paddle's the fastest growing sport in the world. And I just saw his complete like brain be like, what the heck? Like, I'd never even thought of that. And that's where I say for anyone who's here, like, you don't know what you don't know. And like, for me, that was like, as if I just invented fire for him suddenly. He was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about it. I could do this.
100%. It lights the fire in your belly a little bit. Like, especially from sometimes I think you get stuck in a rut and you're around people with limiting beliefs, or you're just doing the same thing every single day. You need to change something, and you've just got to do it. Like, it's as simple as that. You've literally just got to do it, and it can light a fire in your belly, and it just opens up this world to what you can actually achieve. And once you've done that, you're probably going to think 10 times bigger then. So it definitely opens up your eyes to things really quick. Paddle's a good one. So I play paddle as well.
Yeah, sick. If you come out to the Dubai event in November, we'll play. We're trying to arrange like a tournament. I'm having lessons. Pretty good. So I want to say a big thank you for your time today, Dom. And for anyone who hasn't, we'll put Dom's IG below, so everyone can go and check him out. If you are a coach and you want help in terms of scaling your own business, If you want to come into a beginner section like Dom has into Fit Pro and then come through seven-figure scaling systems, we have a full Accenture process to get you going from wherever you are in your business. So you can drop me a message on Instagram. I'll personally send a voice note back, or hit the link below this, and then you can kind of book it and we'll show you what we do. And big thank you for today, Dom, because I think you will have inspired a lot of people and probably opened a few eyes of what can be done.